Welcome, welcome, welcome to our first calculator lab for Algebra 1. If you are taking my class, this is what you do for Friday homework. If you're not taking my class, this is just, it will teach you, anybody can watch it, how to make a table using your graphing calculator. Now, I recommend that you get the TI-84. I have the TI-84 plus C, that's plus color. So mine's a little bit older one, but it's doing good right now. It's getting a few problems with charging, so eventually I'm probably gonna have to get a new one, which will be sad because they're expensive. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna learn how to make a table with our calculator. All right, so this is our very first one, and if you're doing the class, this is found in your book on page 15. I'll put the book number that I'm using down in the description, so if other people want to get this book, it's pretty cheap. It's an old edition McDougal Littell Algebra 1 book, so you can get one pretty cheap off of eBay, Alibris, Amazon, any place like that. All right, so this kind of gives you the instructions in your book, but it kind of expects you to know stuff. And I have found in my years of teaching that the kids don't know stuff and that they need a little help with this. So what we're going to do is first we're going to turn our calculator on. See that button on? Fake is like, how do you turn it on? And then how you turn it off is second on. Da-da! It's more fun if you say da-da. All right, so here's our calculator, it's on. And the first thing we want to do is we want to say that y is equal to 2 to the x power. So I go over here and see that button that says y equals, I press it. I've got some stuff in there, so I need to clear it out. So I push this button right here that says clear. If you don't have anything, good for you. And now I push 2 and then up arrow, and I can say it's to the x power. This button right here, where it has x, t, circle with the line through it, n. This is our button that we get an x. So now we have it in there. Y1, or we can put more than one in here at a time, but our first one is 2 to the x, okay? So now what we want to do is we want to look at the answers to this in a table. And this would be, like if you were graphing it, this could be your if-then chart. These could be your ordered pairs for graphing this equation. So what we're going to do to set up our table is we go right here. I don't know if you can see it, but it says the second thing that's painted above the button that says window, it says table set, or it stands for table set. So I do second window. And now I want it to look like this. I want my table to start at 6, and I want it to change by 2. That triangle is the Greek letter delta, and it means change or difference, and I want my table to change by 2. So I go over here. Right now it says 0. There's no erasing. You just write over, and it does that with this calculator. So I just say 6. It takes away the 0, and it makes it a 6. And then to change my changing table, I use the arrow keys and I go down and I make it 2. Now I'm through with this, so I want to get out of this. Whenever you want to get out of things, you do second mode. See how that says quit? So I want to quit that. And now I want to go look at my table, and table is painted right here behind graph. So I say second graph, which is table, and da-da, there it is. So if x is 6, y is 64. If x is 8, y is 256. If x is 10, y is 1024. And that's, they wanted you to fill in their table. Now, I like making tables vertically instead of horizontally. So I always make my if-then tables horizontal, the thing you can use to plot your points and make your graph. So if you were getting the answers to these, you would look and say, okay, 6 is 64, and you would write it in the table. Now, then they wanted to know, well, what is it if it is 20? What about if x is 20? Come in focus. There you go. If x is 20. So we would use our arrow keys and arrow down to 20. And it has a weird number. It says 1.05 E6. Well, that's scientific notation. And what the E means is it stands for times 10. I'm going to write it over here on a piece of paper for you. So I'm going to write down the number and teach you how to do it. So 1.05. Okay, so if I was writing it sort of like this, 1.05 E6, and it stands for 1.05, ooh, I'm looking through my thing, it's making me write crazy, times 10 to the 6th power. What it means is if I have this number, 1.05, and because this is a positive exponent 6, it means it's a giant number bigger than our calculator has room to display in that little box right there. So it turned it into scientific notation. How to turn it back out of scientific notation is you pretend that this is a frog. You don't have to pretend it's a frog, but it's more fun if you do. And he's going to hop 6 times this way because it's a giant number. If it was negative, it'd be a tiny number and he'd hop the other way. But positive exponent, giant number, is going to hop 6 times this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now I add zeros. It's called augmenting zeros. And my number is 1050000. That's it in not scientific notation. If I want to put it back in scientific notation, say it's a big number, they want you to put it in scientific notation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The place where the decimal point goes is behind the first non-zero digit. 1 is my first non-zero digit, so it's 1.05. You put any other numbers that are non-zero digits and zeros if they're between two numbers. Then you say times 10 to the 6th power. This E means times 10. So this is scientific notation. On your calculator, if I can get to focus, it's the second of the comma. Look on your calculator, there's a little capital E, capital E. So we can put numbers in and out of scientific notation using our calculator with that second comma button. So remember that E means times 10. Now, when you have a scientific notation number, you're not going to say times go up to the exponent, times 10, go up to the exponent 6. The reason why is because your calculator has a hard time realizing this is one number and not two, and it'll do math on part of it, just on the part of it and not the whole thing, and you'll get the wrong answer. So we'll learn more about how to do this in the algebra class, but just introducing it for you. Now, if you have this number and you want your calculator to take it out of scientific notation, you arrow over to the number and it'll put it down at the bottom, not in scientific notation. Notice this number is different than that one. This is the actual answer and they rounded it to put it there. So just know that if you want the real answer, not in scientific notation, arrow down to it, go over and get on it. And as long as it can fit all the way across here, it will give it to you in not scientific notation. Okay, so that's what they did here. Now, for homework, you will be doing the odds. So you'll do these. And like to change it for number 3, we would go back to y equals. We would hit clear to clear out what was in there, and then we would do it again. Let me show you one more thing about this. I'm going to put it back in. 2 to the x power. And notice if I hit graph instead of table, it will graph it for us. Give it a second. Whee! There it goes. That's what the graph of that looked like. So graph and table. Table will tell you your points to plot, and I'm going to show you a different way to get points to plot. And graph, it will graph it for you. All right, so come back next week and we'll do some more of these. The answers to the calculator problems, the odds, and I only assign you the odds, are in the back of your book too. So be sure to check your answers and you're getting the right thing. This is one of the most important things you're going to do in my class is learn how to use your calculator, because these calculators are not intuitive. They've got a learning curve to them. And the more you know about them, the better you're going to do in science and math, all the way through college and on the SAT and the ACT. All right, math is great. See you later.